Good evening, viewers. I would. I'm sitting with you today post my book launch, which happened on the 8th, and I think it was a very well attended function. There was a lot of emotions, a lot of love, and a lot of feeling when everybody was present. I think there were about 400 of them, and it was launched by the Consul General of India, His Excellency Mr. Satish Kumar Sivan, and our guests of honors were Mr. Vasu Shroff, a well-known pillar of Dubai, and Mr. Surinder Kandari, another big pillar and philanthropist of Dubai, and Mr. Ridwan Sarjan, everybody knows him, the owner of Danube Properties. But what is the good part of it is that I had the blessings of Sai Baba and the head priest of Shirdi, Solake Maharaj, flew in, especially on the 8th morning for me, and he opened the event with his shloks and his few words that he said, and blessed me with a shawl and gave me a nice Sai Baba Murti, which was for me very precious. And I think I'm very blessed to have done that. And after that, everybody spoke well, and we all were emotional. But most important, after the speeches, when my son came in, Nikhil came in and talked about me, I was very touched what he said. And then Shashi came on stage, and I had felicitated, and my friends Rakesh Roshan and Shashi Ranjan especially flew down from Bombay for me to be there for my book, because we've known each other for 40 years, and I felicitated them and they felicitated me, because I said, you're coming for me, but I want to felicitate you for the huge success of the Netflix documentary series, The Roshans, which everybody, I think you all have heard of and seen. And it was such a nice thing that everything got together, and the way Rakesh Roshan spoke, the way Shashi spoke. Shashi and me have been close for the last 45 years, and so has Gudu Rakesh Roshan been with me. And it was such a nice feeling of togetherness, and my friends from Dubai who came as a gesture of their love. And though we started the evening, and I told everybody that we are doing the launch at 5:30 in the evening sharp, because that's the time when the Consul General of India said I will arrive, and you have a window of half an hour and I'll leave. And he was there, and we started the event sharp at 5:30, and everything after that went with clockwork, and the Consul General arrived, and we spoke, and everybody spoke, and I spoke, I think, maybe a little too much, but I had a lot to say, and thank so many people. And right from the event person, Desai, and especially the hard work, my lovely girl who's here today, Rida, whom we are going to talk to about today, and the effort that they put in, especially for the challenge for us to do this event on a beach and next to Coco Bay, and that was an empty space, and the way Rida worked for 3 nights, because you're allowed to bring in all the equipment only maybe 10 after 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. till morning 6 a.m. and she was there for 3 nights. And we'll talk about it later when we talk to her. But it was all in all a joint effort that everybody pulled in and did this. Kodan girl, Manju, and everybody else was part of this. And it was like a family, and it all went through like clockwork. And here I would like to mention two specific things. Is that I was very touched with gestures, and there's a friend of mine called Dan, Ratanji Dhansukh we call him. He flew in from LA on the 8th morning, 17-hour flight, and he flew in from LA and was there for that evening for me, and he flew back on the 9th back to LA. I think that just shows the kind of love and affection that I am blessed with and humbled with, and that is just a sign of it. Another very good, I was touched with another friend whom I'd like you to introduce you to, is my friend Mr. Ketan Desai, who is here today with me in my podcast. Mr. Ketan Desai called me up and Ketan Bhai, he said, Rajan Bhai, you're having your event, your birthday is on the 6th and your event is on 8th. I am coming there on the 4th. I think you came on the 4th.
On the 4th.
On the 4th. He said, I'm coming here and Ketan always stays with me. I mean, for him, my house is like home and he says he calls it a retreat. He feels so relaxed here and he just spends his time and it's great. Ketan, thank you so much for coming and being a part of my journey. And he was there on the 6th for my birthday party, launch, and on 8th on my launch. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Rajan Bhai. Truly honored that you called me. Absolutely.
And before I let Ketan talk, let me give you a brief background about Ketan. Ketan is not just any ordinary man. He comes from an illustrious background, and his father is Manmohan Desai, or was Manmohan Desai, the famous producer director of all the hit films. I don't need to give you the list of all Amar Akbar, Anthony, Roti, Naseeb, and all the super hits. And he was a cult filmmaker, and he's a legend in his own. And Ketan is the only son of Manmohan Desai, and that is what. And he himself has produced films like Amar Akbar, Anthony were all produced by him. And he has produced many films and his father has directed it. But it doesn't end there. He is also married to a very illustrious family of Bollywood, and that's the Kapoor family. His wife Kanchan is Shami Kapoor's daughter. And that is the kind of lineage where we are all coming from. And in spite of having such a big name, a legend, being married to an illustrious family, he is so grounded, like his father who was always grounded. And he is grounded himself. He is not flamboyant or showing off of where he is or what he is, but his humbleness is something that is adorable. Ketan, I'd like you to speak something and say something. Now I have introduced you and talked about you too much.
No, Rajan Bhai, it's like this. Hello, viewers. I'd like to tell you, Rajan Bhai is not a friend. No, don't get me wrong. Rajan Bhai is an older brother. I knew him from Rajan Bhai, I think 80s,
Maybe
90s.
80s, yes, maybe 50, 55 years back. Yeah.
Back then, when I just started working with my father, and I met Rajan Bhai, and I was so impressed with him, so impressed as a human being, as a filmmaker. I think everybody knows that in the 80s and 90s, he literally brought the South film industry into Mumbai, launched so very many people. And he has always been a step ahead of time. He has been always so ahead. I remember when dubbing of South Indian films was never ever considered or even thought of. He had the brainwave and he executed that, and he brought so many South films to Mumbai, dubbed in Hindi. Today, that's the trend that he set early in the day. Rajan Bhai, today I can proudly say, is an older brother, philosopher, and my guide. I look upon him for every small thing. What more do I say? I used to come here, stayed with a couple of people, stayed in hotels. But after he met me, he called me one day, or we were speaking. I said, I'm on my way to Turkey. I want to see that place. Rajan Bhai said, if you're going to Turkey, stop by at my home for a few days and spend time with me, so we'll catch up. And then you go ahead. I came to Dubai. As we spoke, I don't know his house, he and his home. There is magic. I cancelled my Turkey trip, and not for a few days, I stayed back for a whole month. Something I don't know if someone would have tolerated.
Yes, I remember when you came for a week and he said, Rajan Bhai, can I stay for one more week? I said, yes. And he stayed for a month. And I don't know what it was, and his wife was phoning him up, how can you stay at somebody's house for a month? And I said, Kanchan, don't worry, he's at home, let him enjoy, I'm enjoying, let him be. And he loved my dog. I think
I just love
my dog,
Cleo and the new addition to the family, Caesar.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, they are so adorable. My life is, I'm basically very passionate about pets, especially dogs. So it is a pleasure to see them in the morning, play with them, and even the night before they go to sleep, they come to Rajan Bhai and literally through their eyes talk to him.
Yes, absolutely. They are absolutely. She talked to me through her eyes.
For
And
me,
like I said on that day on the stage,
on the
I
street,
said I felt looking at my Cleo and my dog, when I look at that, I feel my mother. And she looks at me and takes care of me like my mother. She's always around me. And
absolutely,
I spoke that day.
absolutely.
And I said, when I was in ICU with my heart attack, she didn't move from my bed in my bedroom for 15 days. And she didn't eat or drink anything. She was there waiting for me. It was like my mother being there. So that is what the pleasure of I have in my life of my pets and dogs. They're so much part of my
Beautiful.
family. Right?
It's beautiful.
And also, another thing about Ketan, which I'd like to talk to you, that I don't even know he's in the house. When I'm there and my guys, Deepak and Vishnu who are there, they keep saying, knocking at the door, sir, you want breakfast, you want lunch, you want dinner? Okay. He does, as if he's not there. And I come back in the evening, I see his curtains drawn. I say, where's Ketan? He says, he's in the room. Hasn't he come down? No, he's sitting in his room. I don't know what he does in his room, but he's just there. And he comes back and says, I am so feeling, so it's like free and like it's meditating or I don't know what.
Absolutely. His home, the vibrations, Rajan Bhai, you have in your home, I've never felt that in any home. Really, I mean it from my heart. And I told him once, I said, your bungalow should be named Sukoon. Sukoon is, what do we say?
Sukoon is peace.
Peace. So much of peace, so much of good vibrations. And that comes from his late mother's blessings that are retained in the house, as well as Sai Baba.
Sai Baba
Himself being there, and he calls the head priest. So many prayers and good vibrations makes what his home is today. In fact, I will tell you, as I said, my older brother, friend, not a friend, older brother, philosopher and guide, I was so impressed, so touched. He went so high in my eyes when he brought his former staff who used to work in Mumbai, as well as the present staff who works with him, all his colleagues on stage. And they were felicitated too, not only the big boys, but even the people who worked to make him what he is today. And the beauty was when his two, I would say, pets who came on the stage, oh, it was people were clapping and they went gaga over that.
And I got my home staff with me.
Home staff.
And both and
felicitated his home staff, who he calls his lifeline.
But that's my lifeline.
That's true. Absolutely true.
I remember that when I had COVID, I mean, my boy Deepak is there. And I said, and Rangan was down with COVID in one room. I had no energy. This man, with Deepak, he wore a suit, complete suit. And he came in and he looked after me for 1 month, taking me to the toilet, bringing me back and everything.
Awesome.
I said, you'll catch it. He said, I don't care if anything happens to me, but I have to take care of you. And it was because of him that today I am still healthy and nice and where I am. Because I was helpless. You know, in COVID, people were helpless. But this man was there, he's part of it. So, I mean, I felicitate because they are such an important part of your lifeline today.
Absolutely.
That we don't worry about them, we take them for granted. But when you call them and appreciate whatever they've done, and you've seen them stay.
Absolutely.
We play poker at home, we have parties at home.
Oof.
I just have to phone them up and tell them that आज 25 आदमी का dinner है, 20 आदमी का dinner, हाँ साहब. And evening dinner is ready. I don't do a damn thing. Everything works for me on remote with them because they know what they have to do.
But Rajan Bhai, it is like this. Action to reaction. You are so good to them. You're so magnanimous that from the heart they serve you.
Yes.
You have to be a great person.
They've been with me for nearly 25 years.
That speaks volumes.
Yes.
Volumes.
So that's how everything goes. So it's not only the big boys whom you felicitate, but it's your own people, your staff, your health, your everybody whom you felicitate.
They were stunned. Everybody came with full of love to meet you, but they were stunned and pleasantly shocked when you brought your staff.
A lot of them were emotional.
They were emotional. They were emotional. I saw many people had, ladies, even men, have tears in their eyes when they saw the entire function.
Yes.
It was not just a function to show off. It was a very personal event. That event was personal. Apart from launching your book, it was the gesture of calling all your friends.
Yes.
And they came with a
And
lot
how
of
they
love
came,
and
like I
affection.
told you about Dan, I told you about Ketan, I told you about Shashi, about Rakesh Roshan. I mean, they all came from far. They didn't have to, but they said it's an event for him, and they were all present with me, standing by me, and that is what gave me a great feeling. And I was absolutely overwhelmed.
No, it was.
And it was absolutely
I
beautiful.
mean, it's not because I'm sitting here today, but Rajan Bhai, you're one of the greatest people I have met. Honestly, I mean it from my heart.
Thank you, Ketan, thank you. And another thing about Ketan is that he never talks or boasts like other people do about his legendary past and his legendary father, where he's coming from, his family, Kanchan. He is absolutely under the radar. He's one of the most low-profile producers, and having been a legendary maker and of legendary films and cult films, he never talks about it, and he doesn't talk about it. When you talk about it, he starts feeling shy about it. But tell us a few things about your father, Manmohan Desai.
Rajan Bhai, he was another unique person. In spite of having his status, he worked very hard for it. His successes, which were almost a strike rate.
It was a 100% strike rate.
He, he was a very simple man. We started by living in a small place that is called Khetwadi in the heart of Mumbai, where the hustle, bustle, everything, it's not posh at all.
Yeah.
He became successful, but he was so grounded. I learnt all that from him.
Yes.
He stayed back in the old home and he bought a lovely apartment for me. He said,
He bought Swapnalok.
Swapnalok, a building called Swapnalok.
One of the best buildings in Bombay.
And
he continued to stay in
he
Khetwadi.
continued. He said, look, I'm giving you a 7-star hotel now. You live in it. I'm not you. I'm not a one who wants luxuries and this, that. Yes, everybody wants luxuries, but he stayed back in his old home. He said, I'm happy here. The neighbors I can talk to, I can shout across to somebody. Somebody sends me food, I send food back to them. And it's a very, very happy atmosphere. I make film for the masses, the cinegoers, for a man who's a truck driver, a man who may be an usher. I make films for them. So I'd like to live with them and I will die here. I live, make movies, and I will die with these people.
That is amazing story about him, and I have been telling him, I said, Ketan, after the success of the Roshan,
True.
and what people have got to know about Roshanji,
One of the
people did
greatest
not-
music
people
directors.
did not know about the songs that he has composed. I mean, he was so under the radar.
Immortal
and he
songs.
was fantastic. When I heard it, I said, this is composed by him. And then the chapter 2 came about Rajesh Roshan. And again, I saw the songs which he has composed. They were such big hit songs. The third chapter came about Gudu, about Rakesh Roshan. And there were things that I got to know about Gudu, which I didn't know about, being a close friend, about his whole journey from where they started. Suddenly when his father died, and I remember his words, he said, the day my father died, that was the day when a boy became a man.
Oh,
Overnight.
lovely, lovely.
And that is because he had to support his family and look after his family, being the eldest. And how he worked and tried to join film, running after producers, going to producers, got roles, small roles as an actor. That we didn't work very well for him. He became a producer.
Oh, yes.
And then eventually as a director where he found his niche, and then he produced iconic films. And then, of course, came his son Hrithik Roshan, who is today a superstar.
Oh.
And he made his first film, Kauna Pyar Hai, with him, and the rest is history, what everybody has seen. But I find that family so grounded, and even Hrithik, I mean, when Rakesh Roshan was shot,
Yeah.
when he had
Very,
when
very
he was
unfortunate.
shot, and he had bullets in his chest, and they rushed him to hospital. Hrithik was there by his side with his wife Pinky, and how they took care of him and his sister, that his daughter. And they're such a grounded together family, and there are no airs about them. And that goes down to even Hrithik. And I've seen him very grounded, very humble, very courteous to his elders and everything. So that comes from the background and culture of it.
True.
But what I'm trying to tell you is, Ketan, you have to make a documentary on Manmohan Desai. MKD Films.
Thank you.
MKD Films is a banner which is as big, if not bigger, than the Yashraj banner, or as big as the Prakash Mehra banner. MKD Film stands for Manmohan Ketan Desai Film Sunrise, right? So your name is in the middle, and I think you owe it to your father to do a documentary. And we have Shashi with us now. Shashi is,
That's
you've
right.
seen his work. We have Shashi
Outstanding
with
work.
us.
He did it
Outstanding work
brilliantly.
he has done.
Brilliant.
And we have Shashi with us, and I am really requesting you today, openly in the public, that you have to make. You got so much material, you got so much to say, and how many of these actors and characters, like in the Roshan, there were more than 50, 60 artists and superstars who talked about Rakesh Roshan and Roshan. They have worked with Manmohan Desai, like Amitabh Bachchan and Shatrughan Sinha and all the big actresses
Rishi
and
Kapoor.
everybody who have worked with him. And I think they would be happy to sit and talk about him if you take the initiative and make an iconic documentary on Manmohan. I will want to be a part of that. I would want.
My God, that would be my honor.
I would very much like to be a part of that.
That would be my honor.
whole
It's
thing.
such a beautiful idea that he's given me. It never struck me. He said, Ketan, you owe it to your father.
You owe it
If
to
you
your
don't do it, you're doing injustice to him.
Because you see, today in India, if you've seen, there's no documentation of all these legends.
Very true.
I mean, look at Lata Mangeshkar, she died. Now, there is no documentation of Lata.
Shocking,
Or Mohammad
because-
Rafi, or Dilip Kumar, Devanand, Raj Kapoor, and everybody else, K. Asif, Kamal Namroi, all the actors, there's no documentation about
You're
that.
so right.
So I think that it's time you document it, and no other better person than the great Mr. Manmohan Desai.
Thank you,
And I
Rajan.
think I'm going to push you for this.
Absolutely.
I'm going to make
No,
it.
no, I will take up your idea and take it forth and definitely see what we can
Yes.
do.
Thank you so much, Ketan,
Thank you,
for
Rajan
being
Bhai.
with me.
Absolutely honored
And
to be
I'm
on this
honored,
podcast.
And I'm blessed to have you in my life as a friend.
Sir, as I said,
And
you
one thing before we go, when I come to Bombay, I must tell you, the way he takes care of me, it is unbelievable. I mean, he comes, picks me up, his car is there, his driver is there, his secretary is there, his second car is there to take my luggage, and his car is with me 24/7. In spite of that, I told him that he
no,
said
Rajan Bhai, it's the
But
least
it
I
is
can do.
absolutely so touching what he does, but he does it out of his heart. And that is something I appreciate. And thank you, Ketan, for being in my life.
Thank you, Rajan Bhai, for you being in my life too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
you.